Hi everyone and welcome back. This is Sky coming on to talk to you briefly about the new moon in Cancer happening on June 29th, 2022. I hope you're all doing really well. I'm so excited to be coming on today and talking to you about a major paradigm shift that is happening. I will be further detailing this in the July 2022 content. As you might have noticed, the last week has been huge on the global stage. It's been huge microcosmically and macrocosmically, and there's going to be a lot to be talking about and a lot to unpackage and heal through in the month of July. You know, I've been talking all year actually about the big decision point that comes up in July 2022 and again in January 2023, and we can definitely see at a lot of different levels the way that momentum and paradigms are changing. And I'm going to be talking about that some in today's video. Before we get into it, everyone, if you haven't gotten the chance to see yet, I premiered my Sun in Astrology video, which was a big milestone for this channel. I will link that below and in the top right hand corner if you haven't been able to check out that video yet. If you get the chance, go over and comment and like on the video. It really helps the channel out. Also, I will be doing live premieres over the entire summer, every Friday at 6 p.m. Pacific time. So come and check out the live chats and spend some time recalibrating and refocusing, as that is what I am making the theme of this summer season of live premieres. Okay, so yes, new moon in Cancer on June 29th. It is the energy of a collective milestone. Okay, there's something that really marks a change during this time at many different levels, and it can be like a positive or a negative milestone that comes in here, but one way or another, it's a huge base or a huge sort of signal point of a big change in momentum or a big change in consideration to the way that one spends energy or the way that one moves through life. So the sign of Cancer in astrology is about the deepest connection to self. Okay, the Cancer archetype rules over midnight. Okay, in the zodiac wheel, it is the fourth house, which is the darkest point of the zodiac. So one of the reasons that Cancer has rulership over the self is because in a complete state of darkness, we have a lot more awareness and perception of our own bodies. We can hear our own heartbeat, you know? We can feel the sensations of our body much more strongly when the senses are not so overwhelmed. So this is what the sign of Cancer also has rulership over. We are in Cancer season. Of course, right now, one of the most transformative and momentous Cancer seasons I've seen in a long time. There's likely to be, as this new moon in Cancer hits, a feeling of your senses or your just sensory stimulation not being as present or not being as distracting from the way that your body feels. So for some people, I'm seeing that as stopping a certain addiction, okay? Or not giving your body something that for such a long time has been bad for it. And this could kind of cue up that feeling of like not being distracted by a sensation or not being distracted by a certain, just noise or feeling or vision or content type or something. So it's also really likely, as this new moon in Cancer hits, to have redefinition of relationship boundaries. I'm talking a lot about that in the July 2022 comprehensive astrology video about how this is a big change in relationship philosophy, love language, and also not just our relationship to other people, certainly those, but our relationship to a lot of things in our life. So our relationship with certain types of food, our relationship with certain types of any form of sensory stimulation. So regardless of where you're at there, it seems to me to be a big shift point in sensory stimulation. And you might see that, you know, if you've been spending a lot more time in solitude, you might be more with people during this time, and vice versa. If you've been more with people, you might find yourself moving into a more solitary chapter. One way or another, this new moon in Cancer on June 29th, that will last for the next month-long lunar cycle and echo over the next 30 days for sure. It is creating for us, as all new moon in Cancers do, a new type of nurture, okay? There's a great possibility during this general time period to find a new healthy relationship. Okay, maybe this is a new exercise regimen. Maybe this is also a new friendship. Maybe this is being kinder to strangers. Maybe this is also getting kindness, either from people you don't know too well, like just randomly, like being complimented, or also like receiving an apology or some type of forgiveness from another person. I find that certain long-running status quo relationship statuses, so like grudges or even like unconditional love, thing like either end of the spectrum, can be redefined now. So that person that used to have a grudge against you might now be calling upon you to apologize. That person also who expressed an unyielding loyalty could now become a bit shady towards you. Okay, the wheel turns here. The wheel turns. And as the wheel of fortune turns, the statuses and really locked in dynamics of relationships change. Okay, so this is hard for a lot of people because ever since the Pluto, Saturn, and Jupiter conjunctions in Capricorn in 2020, that type of energy wanted us to consolidate and lock in certain relationships and create, in a way, a non-changing, non-beholden to sort of, feeling-oriented changes status for a lot of our lives. So you see a lot of people in really harsh contracts right about now. You see a lot of people doing more than their physical body can allow because they're locked into a certain energy output. This new moon in Cancer, since it is on this axis, is a really, really beautiful opportunity, healing opportunity to really check back in with your body and understand if your work contract, for example, is possible. Okay. Also to understand if a grudge is cruel. Okay. Also to understand if trust is warranted. This is, to me, one of the biggest sensitive points of humanity and human relationships is the nature to not, understand the seasonality of certain bonds and certain contacts. So we marry someone and we think that there's trust there because of that marriage. I'm not saying that you need to question that or that you need to rethink that, but what I find to be a problem area for a lot of people right now is relying on these status quo constructs to be defining where trust is, or to be defining also where prosperity is or is not. And, you can really see this if you're a history fanatic like myself about how, when you watch the way that time has affected civilizations before, or the way that time moves and the way that relationships change in so many different ways, that person who was once against us becomes for us, wheels become woes, so on and so forth. And like that which was once also difficult becomes in abundance or in ease. So that is kind of what I feel is the greater arc right now. And this could also be a little bit premature. I mean, this might really not be super in effect until the year 2023. Honestly, you guys, 2023 has kind of come early for me. I don't know if it's because I'm an astrologer or because I'm pretty intuitive and sensitive. Maybe for those of you also listening right now as well, maybe you're experiencing this. Like if you're super intuitive, sometimes the energy comes early. And I think that I've been talking a lot about this lately, and I'm kind of getting like really ahead of myself in a way too, which is not the best, but maybe it's important. Maybe we'll look back and think, okay, yeah, it was important to really think about 2023 so far in advance. But I will say 2023 is such a monumental year, and so is, honestly, every year since 2020 has been, and every year is in its way monumental. But I'm just really concerned about lack of yielding nature, so overt stubbornness or being stubborn to a fault, being locked or bonded into certain ideals or preconceived notions that are in the long term preventative to our greater expansion or preventative to the greater narratives that our selves are demanding. So bringing this back into the new moon in Cancer, because again, that is on that axis, as I was just saying, of a Capricorn and Cancer, I think that it's giving us a chance to redo bonds, or it's giving us a chance to redo contracts, to redo commitments, and to get this stuff a little bit more in tune with our own selves and our own bodies. That to me feels like the main possibility or source of possibility in this general time, the entire month of July to an extent, and a little bit of August. And then if you've followed my Patreon page and listened to my recent New Synergy series installment, I was talking about how the greater narrative of like June, July, and August does actually sort of assign a momentum that has us moving really fast through the rest of 2022. And it may not be until like the beginning of 2023 that we can really check back in as easily as we can now. So I just think that that's the most important thing I can tell you about this particular new moon, is it's a really, as every Cancer new moon is, an important time to check back in with you. Try to give yourself this time where maybe you're just like lying in bed, like at nighttime with no distractions, no sensory distractions, and just check in with your body in that way without any, false implementation, like the TV going in the background, even like the melatonin or the essential oils or the bedtime tea. I mean, I love all those types of things, but I think this is such an important time to just see where our body is without any of these, self-changing implements. So if you can spend time to do that maybe during this new moon or during the month of July, to some degree, I think that will be really illuminating for you, and you will maybe get answers that way. Okay? So prayer in that state, in that completely 100% sober, natural state, is maybe very revealing for a lot of people. And I do feel that so many people are just like skirting around the edges of the real clarity or the real revelatory content that they need. And what is leading it to be skirting around the edges and not really actually getting to the center of it, for some people is just like caffeine, or for some people is just, a certain very simple nutritional deficiency or some kind of sensory distraction that ends up depriving the actual moral lesson or hearty understanding that we do really, really need right now. So it is nonetheless also a beautiful time to add things into your experience that are needed by yourself. So after you kind of maybe understand what it is that you need, or you kind of check back in, following through on that is then what actually makes the difference. One of the problem areas of new moon in Cancer, there's not that many. Again, this is the best sign for the moon to be in, this and Taurus. But the moon, of course, rules Cancer, and it's a new moon, so it's a very wonderful time for conception, for also fertility, or for any kind of creative process, and also for restoration, rejuvenation, and recoveries, okay? But it comes really through this process, this checking back in, and then also giving the body what it says it needs, or what it knows it needs, okay? Maybe even more so what it says it needs, what it really needs, okay? Because sometimes the body starts saying it needs things like sugar, okay, because it's used to it, and it's not actually what it needs. Also, it's a harsh time, but an important time as well to see like results of things like sugar, like cavities, okay, or also any type of result of that sort of skin layer wanting that is a result of a dependency or an addiction and not really a need. Debt is also like this, like consumer debt. It's like this, and this is going to be a strong energy for a lot of people. It's good to have these things checked out, like even getting financial advice from someone who's really, stable and materially sober, okay? Also having dental work done. Also, this is all Saturn stuff, right, on the Cancer Capricorn axis. And this new moon will help you to establish yourself anew in some way. And also to conclude this video on a really positive idea that I've been getting intuitively lately. Basically, you can start to reinvent yourself here in the most real way perhaps in your life. Okay, so people are starting to understand themselves beyond how they ever have before. So the identity or the self composed identity is actually evolving and coalescing and getting to a certain vibrational capacity that it may have never been before for humanity. And in the positive, that means that people can really start to let go of things that aren't right for them. People can start to actually understand what is right for them. And on the negative, yes, it is an increase in narcissism and an increase in ego as well. And ego itself, as a lot of people talk about, is not in and of itself necessarily a bad thing. But I think for everybody, across the entire spectrum of ego, like a true self-knowledge is never a bad thing. And true understanding of what the self really needs beyond inflated or manic ideations that are not based in sobriety is vital knowledge for everybody. And that really can be gotten during this time. So if you want to, light some candles during the new moon, meditate, and kind of understand what you really need, and then find a way to actually provide that, and let this be like a really sober process, I think that it's going to be a beautiful new moon. So thank you so much, everyone. I'm going to conclude just a short little installment today about the new moon in Cancer, one of my favorite new moons. It's one of the best lunar cycles of the year, one of the most naturally healing, naturally sustaining energies. And always this time of the year, June and July, is the best time to do any kind of personal healing, rethinking of what we're putting into the body. Okay, what we're eating. Okay, food is highly connected to the signs Taurus and Cancer. And we're in Cancer season. Also emotional healing, any types of therapies, any types also of deep tissue massage, or any kind of healing modality is usually quite positive, and I think it is this year too. But anyway, everyone, yes, again, I am doing live premieres every Friday. The next one is on July 1st, 2022, and we'll be talking about July comprehensive astrology in that live premiere. I would love it if you would come and check it out. It's a really wonderful community environment. I will link below my mailing list, the Discord, my Patreon page, and yes, always hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell notifications so you get more insights about what's happening on this channel. Thank you so much, everyone, and I hope you have a beautiful new moon. Much love. Bye.